Is she falling for you? The signs you can't ignore. You might think it's just harmless attention, a few extra glances, a little more laughter in your conversations. But then something shifts. She starts texting at odd hours. She confides in you about her marriage. She lingers when it's time to leave. And suddenly, you're standing at a dangerous crossroads. If a married woman has feelings for you, she won't always come out and say it. Instead, she'll send signals, some subtle, some impossible to ignore. But here's the problem. When emotions get involved, clarity gets clouded. You start wondering, is she just being friendly, or is there something more? Before you know it, you're in too deep, caught in a situation that could cost you both more than you bargained for. This isn't about romance. It's about recognizing the warning signs before it's too late. If she truly desires you, she won't just tell you. She'll show you in 100 little ways, ways that might seem innocent at first, but carry a deeper meaning. The stolen moments, the secrecy, the quiet possessiveness, it all points to something much bigger. And here's where it gets real. Once you see the signs, you can't unsee them. You need to ask yourself, what now? Are you walking into a mess you can't clean up? Or is it time to step back before things spiral out of control? You're about to learn the unmistakable signs that a married woman is emotionally hooked on you. Pay attention, because this knowledge could be the only thing standing between you and a situation you never meant to be in. Let's dive in. If you've ever found yourself questioning a married woman's intentions, now you know the signs to watch for. Awareness is your best defense against emotional entanglements that can lead to complications you never saw coming. If this insight has helped you see things more clearly, imagine how many others might need to hear this too. Hit that like button if you value hard-hitting truth. Subscribe for more eye-opening content that could change the way you navigate relationships, and share this with someone who might be walking into a situation they don't fully understand. And now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed these signs in someone? What are your thoughts on handling this kind of situation? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Your perspective could be the wake-up call someone else needs. Number 1, beware. She wants you all to herself. At first, it feels flattering. She always wants to be around you. Whenever you make plans, it's just the two of you. No friends, no group hangouts, no outside world creeping in. It feels special, almost like a secret bond. But step back and think, why the secrecy? Why does she avoid inviting others? A married woman who's developing feelings for you won't want to share your attention. She'll subtly isolate your connection, making it feel exclusive. She won't suggest bringing mutual friends, and if you do, she'll brush it off with an excuse. It's not because she enjoys one-on-one conversations, it's because she doesn't want witnesses. If others are around, the illusion breaks. Someone might notice how she looks at you, how she laughs a little too hard at your jokes, how she leans in just a little too close. And here's where it gets risky. When a woman starts sectioning off a part of her life just for you, she's already crossing emotional lines. If you don't recognize this pattern early, you'll slip into it without realizing. One-on-one time turns into secrecy. Secrecy turns into deeper emotional attachment. And by the time you understand what's happening, you might already be playing a role you never meant to step into. So ask yourself, does she want your company, or does she want to keep you all to herself? The difference will define where this road leads. Number 2. Red flag. She's complaining about her husband to you. It starts off subtly, an offhand remark about how her husband never listens, how he's always too busy, how the spark in her marriage has faded. At first, you think she's just venting, but then the complaints become more frequent, more personal. She confides in you, tells you things she says she can't tell anyone else. And that's where the trap begins. When a married woman starts painting her husband as the villain and you as the understanding, supportive alternative, you're being pulled into an emotional gray zone. She's not just talking, she's testing. She wants to see how you react, if you sympathize, if you start seeing yourself as the one who gets her in a way her husband never could. And the moment you start playing that role, you've unknowingly stepped onto a dangerous path. This is how emotional affairs begin, not with dramatic confessions of love, but with small, seemingly innocent conversations that inch closer and closer to something neither of you can take back. What starts as a friendship turns into an escape, and before you know it, you're entangled in a situation where emotions blur the lines of right and wrong. The real question is, are you just listening, or are you being led somewhere you shouldn't go? If she's leaning on you for the emotional support she should be getting from her husband, take a step back, because this red flag isn't just waving, it's screaming. Number 3. Silent warning. She freezes when you mention other women. It's a reaction you can't fake. You casually bring up another woman, maybe a co-worker, an old friend, or even someone you're interested in, and suddenly the energy shifts. She stops mid-sentence. Her smile fades, even if just for a second. She might try to play it cool, but the silence says more than words ever could. This is not just politeness or indifference. It's emotional discomfort, and it speaks volumes. A married woman who only sees you as a friend won't care who you talk to. She might even encourage you to find someone. But when there are deeper feelings involved, jealousy slips through the cracks. She won't admit it outright, but that moment of hesitation, the forced smile, the quick change of topic, it all exposes her hidden emotions. Some women might even take it further. They may dismiss the woman you mentioned, subtly criticize her, or downplay your interest. Others may suddenly act distant or cold, as if you did something wrong, but you didn't. You just unknowingly hit a nerve. This reaction is a silent warning. It's her unspoken way of revealing that she sees you as more than just a friend. And if she's feeling territorial, even while being married, it's a sign that things are already getting complicated. The question is, what do you do with that information? Do you ignore the signs, or do you step back before things get messier than they already are? The choice is yours. Number 4. Mind games. She keeps finding excuses to think about you. At first, it seems harmless. She casually mentions that a song reminded her of you. She brings up a place you once talked about visiting. She laughs and says, "This totally made me think of you." You brush it off. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But then it happens again and again. And suddenly, it's not just small talk. It's a pattern. Here's the reality. When someone can't stop associating random things with you, it's because they can't stop thinking about you. And when that someone is a married woman, that's when things get complicated. This isn't just nostalgia or friendly affection. It's a subtle way of keeping you emotionally connected. Every time she links something back to you, she's planting a seed, reminding you that you're on her mind, even when you're not around. Whether she realizes it or not, her subconscious is doing the talking, and the more she does it, the stronger the emotional attachment grows. But here's the dangerous part. She's not just making herself think about you, she's making you think about her. And that's how emotional lines start to blur. So, pay attention. If everything in her world suddenly seems to have a connection to you, don't be fooled. It's not the universe sending signs. It's her mind playing games, and you're the center of it. The real question is, will you let yourself get pulled in? Number 5. Body language never lies. She blushes when you're near. You don't need words to know what someone is feeling. Body language will tell you everything. And blushing, that's a reaction no one can fake. It's raw, involuntary, and speaks louder than anything she could ever say. So, you're talking to her, maybe teasing her a little, and suddenly you notice it. Her cheeks flush, her eyes dart away, or she nervously tucks her hair behind her ear. That's not just a random reaction. It's her body betraying what she's trying to suppress. Science proves that blushing happens when emotions, like attraction, excitement, or even guilt, hit a level the brain can't control. But here's where it gets tricky. If a married woman is blushing around you, it's not just about attraction. It's about conflict. It's about feelings she shouldn't have, but can't hide. It's a battle between desire and restraint, between what's right and what she wants. And if she's blushing often, she's thinking about you more than she should. Blushing is a red flag, literally. If you notice it, don't ignore it. The question is, do you acknowledge it and step forward? Or do you recognize the warning and step back? Because once you see the truth in her face, you can't pretend you don't know what's happening. Number 6. Danger zone. She subtly tries to claim you as hers. Number 7. Secret affairs. She's hiding you from her husband. At first, it's barely noticeable. She laughs a little too hard at your jokes, always agrees with your opinions, or casually brings up the idea of a future, one where you're in it. It's nothing obvious, nothing you can call out directly. But it's there. Slowly, she starts making her mark, creating an invisible claim over you without ever saying the words. She might ask where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with. Not in a friendly way, but in a way that hints at quiet jealousy. She finds ways to align herself with you, to make it seem like you two are more than just friends. Maybe she compares you to her husband, suggesting you're everything he's not. Maybe she subtly discourages you from dating other women, finding flaws in every name you mention. The most dangerous part, she does it so smoothly that you don't even realize what's happening until you feel it. This unspoken connection, this possessiveness that wasn't there before. And by then, she's already in your head. This isn't innocent anymore. If she weren't married, it would be different. But she is. And if she's acting like you belong to her, ask yourself, how far is she willing to go? And more importantly, are you ready for the consequences? Because once she stakes her claim, walking away won't be as easy as you think. Number 8. Emotional trap. She goes out of her way to please you. At first, it feels flattering. She remembers your favorite coffee order, checks in on your bad days, and bends over backward to make sure you're comfortable. She makes sacrifices, sometimes small, sometimes risky, just to see you smile. And that's exactly where the trap is set. This isn't just kindness, it's an emotional investment. A married woman who goes out of her way to make your life easier isn't just being nice. She's creating a bond, one that gets harder to break over time. The more she caters to you, the more she's entangling herself in your world. It's her way of securing a place in your life without saying the words out loud. And the danger: you might start depending on her attention, mistaking it for genuine love instead of a need for escape. You might even feel obligated to give her something in return, whether it's emotional support, time, or something deeper. It's a slow, quiet pull into a situation that's tough to walk away from. If she's crossing lines just to make you happy, ask yourself, what's really driving her actions? Is it about you, or is it about filling a void in her own life? Don't mistake devotion for desire, because once you're caught in this emotional trap, untangling yourself won't be easy. Number 9. Late night signals. She reaches out when no one's watching. The clock strikes midnight and your phone buzzes. It's her. A just thinking about you message. A call that drags on longer than it should. A random question she could have asked in broad daylight, but instead she waits until her husband is asleep. The house is quiet and no one will notice. This isn't just about convenience. It's about secrecy. If a married woman constantly reaches out in the late hours, it's a sign that you're on her mind when she should be focusing on her own life. It's a subtle but powerful move. Nighttime conversations have a way of breaking down walls, making things feel more personal, more intimate. And that's exactly what she's banking on. Why is she only reaching out when no one's around? Because she knows these interactions cross a line. Because she's testing the waters, seeing how much of your attention she can claim without consequences. And once those after-hour talks become a habit, you'll find yourself slipping into a dynamic that's far from innocent. Pay attention to when and how she contacts you. If she only makes time for you in secrecy, she's already treating you like more than a friend. And once that door is open, closing it won't be as easy as you think. Number 10. No boundaries. She lets romantic talks slide without stopping you. A married woman who sees you as just a friend will have firm boundaries. The moment a conversation takes a romantic turn, she'll shut it down. No hesitation, no mixed signals. But if she doesn't stop you, if she lets flirting, teasing, or suggestive remarks slip by unchecked, that's your answer right there. She might laugh it off, pretend it's harmless fun. She might even flirt back, keeping it light enough to justify, but heavy enough to mean something. The reality: she's testing limits. She's seeing how far things can go without the weight of guilt crashing down. This is where things get dangerous. The more she allows, the more it becomes the norm. What starts as playful teasing turns into lingering looks. What begins as harmless words turns into moments charged with unspoken attraction. And before you know it, lines are blurred, and just friends is nothing more than an illusion. Don't let silence fool you. If she truly wanted to keep things platonic, she wouldn't leave room for misinterpretation. If she's not stopping you, she's already considered what it would mean if things went further. And if you're not careful, you'll be caught in a situation where stepping back feels impossible. Attraction isn't always loud. It often speaks in whispers, in subtle actions that, when pieced together, reveal a deeper truth. If you've noticed these signs, you're already in a situation that demands caution. The question now isn't just whether she has feelings for you, It's what you're going to do about it. If this insight opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe for more hard-hitting relationship truths, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever encountered these signs? How did you handle it? Your story might be the lesson someone else needs to hear.